Day starting out with some oil strength. This could lead us to a NAS short and a possible gold long that I've loading for you guys. This is the daily entry. I'm bringing you day trading setups on the NAS, Dow, oil, gold, and BTC. Let's go. Now, I'm not seeing major market movers for today other than some jolts job openings coming up. Tomorrow, we got some earnings and things like that. So barring some war surprises and things like that, hopefully we'll get a relatively calm and easy day. Remember the rules here, guys. What we're trying to do is get good reaction zones. We're looking for 2-to-1, 1-to-1 moves. If something's absolutely screaming, maybe hold on to a portion. But you don't want to get married to these losers for too long because we're trading relatively big size and you can get rinsed. So just be careful. Play these good zones. Right, let's jump into our first chart of the day. We're going to jump into oil. And this is the big news. So oil busy pushing the 50-day MA. You see that red line on your screen? That is the 50-day moving average. And obviously above that, we can assume that this is going to be a little bit more bullish. So if we start closing above this 50-day MA, oil is going to start looking spicy. So I'm not necessarily looking to trade oil today, but I got my eye on this. If we've got oil strength, we are probably going to feel it in the crypto markets. We're going to feel it in the NAS, probably on the Dow as well, potentially. So in terms of what could happen here with oil, we do have the previous closes and the previous gaps that could be some really simple targets here for the oil boys. Okay, so look out for that. That will come with pain in the market. In terms of oil longs, guys, I want to trade it down there. We didn't get that drop into the zone, so I'm actually not actively looking for anything right now. But 78 and 76, those were the long plays. Right now, I'll watch the show. If oil's pumping here, these other markets are going to bleed out. If we do start filling gaps and things like that, then we'll start getting bounces on these other assets. Okay, so that's the current strategy there with oil. Now gold is dropping again. Oil strength and gold is starting to melt down. Look at that red candle on the 2-hour time frame. So I still believe we are going to get a nice bounce on gold. Take a look here. We used this liquidity last time for extreme rocket fuel. I'm not necessarily thinking that we get the same size bounce out of gold, but I'm pretty confident that we are going to get a reaction in that region. So for me, gold longs 4,000 looking pretty good. You can bang your stops 3,994 and 3,978, anywhere there making sense at the moment. So keep it relatively tight. And we're looking for a little bounce on gold. If things start ripping higher up, guys, my short zone still the same, 4,130. Also, quite a small risk here on this gold short, 0.26% give or take. Okay, let's talk about the NAS. And right now, the NAS is showing some bearish signs. Look at our oscillator there is giving us reversal prints, and I am starting to really get excited that we are going to get a reversal on the NAS, especially if we get this oil pump above the 50-day MA. So NAS at the moment, I am looking to stack some orders in that region. I'm looking for this thing to push up here and then roll over nicely for us. This is the big zone from yesterday we haven't hit yet. And in terms of order blocks, there is a bearish order block just floating around this area. So based on what I'm seeing on the oscillator, based on the oil momentum that we're seeing at the moment, I'm relatively confident that 29,080 into 29,200 should be a reversal zone on the NASDAQ. Okay, obviously if oil collapses and the NAS starts pumping, that's a different story. We're going to take blows on that one, but that is my current strategy at the moment, looking for this NAS to start reversing. Now, if it does start dropping, where do we look for longs? First zone, 28,530 looks interesting, and then I've got a mini banger here, 28,235, looking quite spicy to me on the NAS. So those are basically the ping pong zones that make sense to me at the moment on this guy. Now, remember, all of these charts, they go into my daily entry channel in the Chart Hackers Discord. So just go into the show description. There's a link there. Click on more. And while you're doing it, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like, hit the bell, hit that subscribe, and share this content. If you have trader buddies that you think could benefit from these type of entries and things like that, send it off to them, guys. Let's get this channel going. It is a relatively new channel. Okay, let's get into the Dow situation. So I did manage to pick up the Dow short from the big zone that I gave you guys yesterday, but we can see it is trying to fight back at the moment. But what I have is another order stacked here at 53,408, and I'm going to run it relatively tight. So I'm going to keep a stop just above that zone. I'm looking for a sweep here of the upside and then another drop. Obviously, if I'm wrong, I'm going to protect myself with a stop, but that is my current strategy now on the Dow. So let's just take a look at the chart. What is going on? So this was our all-time high that we have now pinged, and we did get our rejection after taking a couple of stops yesterday. It was pretty frustrating for me, but here we are. We got back into the zone, and this thing has now rolled over. So in terms of the Dow, looking for this rejection, we are tailing on the oscillator. It is turning a little bit bearish here. There is possibly some downside momentum. That is why I've stacked that extra order there, just in case they come and sweep and then drop. And then in terms of bounce zones, I've labeled this degen zone because it's not super clear to me at the moment. So I would say this is the higher risk area. Look at these wicks over here. You got a macro 236, and you've also got this VWAP. So in terms of Dow longs, Dow bounces, I'd say you can flirt in this area. Just be careful with size. 52,920 down into about 52,850 on this capital.com US30 chart. And then in terms of the banger, I'm really enjoying this zone down here. Look at this VWAP tailing up for us. Look at that nice wick sitting there. 52,420 looks interesting to me. So I'll obviously update these as we go in the Chart Hackers Discord, but for now, that looks like the playing field at the moment. There's obviously a possibility that the Dow explodes and, you know, goes beyond all-time highs, and then we don't have structure. So if it does pop out here, let's not chase anything. Let it do what it needs to do. Once we have structure, guys, we can figure out where this thing goes next. We can plan accordingly. So don't panic if it breaks all-time high. Let it be. Take the stop, and then we figure it out as we go during the course of the week. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin. 2-hour time frame. I just want to show you guys something interesting here. You see these lows. These were our weekend lows over here that we have now swept and taken out a couple of times, and now we just need to be a little bit cautious. Why do we need to be cautious here? We'll take a look at the liquidity. This is the hackers dashboard. We're holding the coin glass heat map in there. Look at that, 62k. There's a ton of juice sitting there below 62k on BTC. So right now, if Bitcoin drops, I'd say you can tentatively look for a bounce, but the high confidence bounce zone has got to be a sweep of that 62k. So I'd say 61,800 into about 61,900 looks like the banger to me to the downside today on Bitcoin. Look at this bullish order block over here as well. Look at that. Okay, so you got a nice collection at these lows. So looking for that long on that sweep of those lows. And then in terms of yesterday, I wanted the short up here, maybe a little bit greedy. I wanted that undercarriage and 786, but it doesn't mean it's off the table. We can still get it. So in terms of the current 2-hour time frame, there is obviously a possibility they pump Bitcoin back up and they give us a further bearish divergence print. And if they do, that is simply going to take us to a new high in price, and then we can lock in that short. So 64.7 into 64.800 is still my favorite short zone at the moment for BTC, and then longs, my favorite long zone, 61.8. That type of region is making sense to me. Obviously, there's mini trades in between, and we're going to be trading some of these things live on the Chart Hackers YouTube later on today. You can actually see the box here. You can click on that. That'll take you into the Chart Hackers YouTube, where you're going to see us trading some of these things live later on. Okay, guys, that's your daily entry. Keep it tight, play safe. Obviously, things are a bit iffy with the war at the moment, waiting for war news and things like that, but the oscillators are telling us a story. Bullish oil, bearish on other assets at the moment, subject to change. Look for updates in the Hackers Discord. See you guys later.